Hello and welcome to Porthole. I'm Steve Milne, and in today's programme we're taking you on a journey of discovery to one of Scandinavia's most popular ports of call, wonderful, wonderful Copenhagen. It's the capital and the largest city in Denmark, made up of 17th and 18th century buildings, beautiful gardens and a picturesque promenade. It's a city that has the hustle and bustle, should you want it, or never far away, is the opportunity to take a quaint canal boat ride to soak up the sights and sounds. Here to tell us more is Claus Bødker from the Cruise Copenhagen network. Claus, thanks very much for joining us. Let's start with maybe talking about why is it wonderful, wonderful Copenhagen?
Well, it comes back from the Danny Kaye song in the movie originally, but of course it's a wonderful city and it's wonderful Copenhagen. And actually the tourist organization that I'm based in is called Wonderful Copenhagen. So it's some of the things that we really think that Copenhagen is a wonderful city, and I think it's due to the many tourists that are arriving to Copenhagen every year.
Well, it's becoming very, very popular, and obviously a lot of people are wanting to go there, and so it's a great chance to find out more about the city. And if you do go there, it's not euros, is that right?
That's correct. It's Danish kroner.
Okay.
The Danes actually had a referendum and they voted no to the euro, so it's still Danish kroner.
And in regards to prices, in comparison to the United Kingdom, what kind of prices can you expect to go for a coffee or for your meals, etc.?
Well, the prices in the UK for Danes have become very expensive due to the strong pound. That means that the prices in Denmark is more or less the same as in the UK. So you should expect more or less the same.
And when it comes to cruising, obviously, when people are going to go there on the cruise ships, right, what can they expect?
Well, they can expect a warm welcome from the local residents of Copenhagen, and they can expect a wide variety of things to see and do while they are in Copenhagen, even if they are just one transit call, or if they are using a pre and post opportunity before or after a cruise. So there's a lot of things to do. When
the cruise line arrives, how far from the dock is it into the city, into all the sites?
Well, I checked this before this interview, and most of the UK residents, they will come to a pier very close to the city centre. So it's about a 10-15 minutes walk from the pier, cruise pier, to the city centre, and on this walk you will actually pass the Little Mermaid.
I was just going to say about that. There's obviously some parts you've got to see, and the Little Mermaid is one of those. I heard it's very, very popular. You might have to line up for a long time to get a picture. Is that right?
That's correct. There are a lot of people waiting at the Little Mermaid. Personally, I think it's a bit overrated, but that's one of the things that you have to see while you are in Copenhagen.
Every now and then you have to, the certain places in certain cities, you've just got to make sure that you see that landmark. What other landmarks would you say people have to go and do or see when they're there? Well,
just walk around in Copenhagen and see some of the big attractions. Tivoli Gardens is of course one of the big attractions. Christiansborg Castle, which is the home of the Parliament, the Prime Minister's office, and the official royal representative offices of the Queen is another big attraction in Copenhagen. The National Museum. So there's a wide variety of things to see and do. Rosenborg Castle, where they have all the crown jewels on display, so you're able to see them.
There are more ships that are staying overnight. So what's the nightlife like?
Well, the nightlife is very sophisticated. You see a lot of different wine bars, for instance, that are becoming more and more popular. So there's an excellent nightlife in Copenhagen.
And the best way to get around the city, what's the best way? I mean, you said to walk. Obviously, you can do walking. I guess that's a great way of seeing more. But other ways of getting around within the city?
Yeah. I was just about to say by foot, because that's far the easiest way to get around, because the city centre is so compact, so it's relatively easy to walk around the city centre. You can bike like the Danes do.
Yes.
Remember to drive in in the right side of the
Of
street.
course, yes, the opposite side, isn't it? So to avoid any disasters. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But of course, you can also take a bus if you want to do that.
And what about the canals? Because I believe the canals are something that you're famous for. Is it definitely worth looking at those?
Yeah, definitely. I would very much recommend a canal tour. It takes approximately 1 hour, and you get to see all basically all the attractions in Copenhagen from the outside, and you get to see experience the canals as well. So definitely recommend.
I guess you want to try and do as much to see the locals, meet the locals, and obviously to try and experience the city as best as possible. So whether it's on a bike or on the canal or walking around, I guess that's when you could just find exciting little parts of the city as well, which is the best way to see what's happening.
Exactly.
What other expeditions do you think people should definitely do whilst they're in your city? Is there anything you'd say you must do? If there's one thing you've got to do, what would you say that would be?
Well, if you are there for one day,
yes,
and you arrive in the morning on a cruise ship and you leave same night, then I would definitely recommend to take either a canal tour or a hop-on hop-off bus to take you around the city. And you can jump off or on at every stop, and then finally I would end the day at Tivoli Gardens because it's much more than an amusement park.
So yeah, tell me more about that, because there's roller coasters there, is that right? Yeah. And it's one of the oldest amusement parks apparently as well. Yeah. And so what would you expect there?
Well, I would expect if I were a tourist to see some of the lights. The gardening is spectacular in Tivoli Gardens. No, there's not so much. It's not so often that people expect to see gardening, beautiful gardening in an amusement park. Fine dining are there as well. So there's a lot of different things to see and do in Tivoli Gardens as well. It's not just an amusement park.
What about food then? So we just talked about food. What type of food can people expect, and what kind of food is on the menu when you're there?
Well, I'm very happy that you bring that up, because for the first time ever, Copenhagen has a restaurant with 3 Michelin stars for the first time in the Nordic countries. And that is basically new Nordic food. And that is the entire food scene in Copenhagen that is very much focused on the new Nordic food. Copenhagen is actually very proud of having 20 Michelin stars in 16 different restaurants.
I mean, this is the thing, we've touched on a lot of different things here, and I guess to try and do all of that would be quite difficult. So I guess you could break it up and do maybe a leisurely look around, or of course, if you want to go to one place and check it out, you can do that as well. What is the Copenhagen card? What is this I've heard about?
The Copenhagen card gives you free access to all public transportation and free access to most museums and attractions in Copenhagen. So it's definitely recommendable.
I guess it's good for the cruise passengers to have one of those cards.
Yeah, because it's very easy, because you don't have to think about how much does it cost to go by train or a bus. And you don't have to think about the entrance fee. I hear some tourists, they say, well, it's easier for us to get out of a museum if it's a bit boring, because we haven't paid to get in, so we have time to visit another museum. So that's also an opportunity or an advantage.
I've always thought about going to a museum because I should, but I don't really want to. And then other times I've gone to a museum by mistake, and I've had the best time there as well. You never know exactly what's going to be good.
Exactly, and that's, you can take the advantage from the Copenhagen card with you here.
In regards to weather, what time of the year is the best time to go, and what can we expect weather-wise?
Well, obviously most people would say the summer, and it is the summer. Copenhagen is a very special place to be in the summer. But actually also the winter is very nice, because the lines to the attractions are so much shorter, and it's easier to get around.
So obviously, when it comes to going to the Little Mermaid or the gardens, and we've got the canals, I guess you've got too many things to do, like we touched on. So when it comes to looking around and meeting the locals, do the locals like the tourists coming in there and obviously speaking to them and meeting and mingling with them?
Yeah, we do a lot of satisfaction surveys among the cruise passengers arriving in Copenhagen, and what they say, what they rate highest, is actually the friendliness of the residents. So the people in Copenhagen, they really like the tourists and like the visitors, and they know that they are very important for the city.
So I guess if you did get there and you wanted just to do some things for free, I guess there's a lot to do. You could just literally take up the city and walk around. Would that be available for people as well?
Obviously, yeah. Of course you can walk around. You can also enjoy to hang around a new harbor, which is a very famous place. It's easy to sit there and just look at the spectacle. We have the port in Copenhagen is actually so clean that you can swim in the water, and the municipality of Copenhagen have constructed some harbor baths, so you can swim in the port if you want to.
So if the weather is good, you could actually go for some swimming as well.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Which is fantastic. Okay, that's a fantastic collection of amazing things to do, and we're going to be talking more about that in just a moment. So stay with us. We'll be discovering more about what Copenhagen has to offer in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Porthole, the programme where we delve into the heart of the most popular cruise ports, and today we're getting a taste for Copenhagen. Claus Bødker is still with me here. Claus, we obviously have lots and lots of different opportunities to see the city and to do some fantastic items. I know that some cruises start and finish in Copenhagen, which could give people more time if they wanted to. So if someone or a family wanted to come to the city a few days before or after, if they were there for a few days, what could they expect? Where could they stay? And is there enough activities to keep them busy for a few days there?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend that you arrive 1 or 2 or 3 days prior to the cruise. First of all, the airport is very close to the city center as well, so it's only a 15-minute metro drive to the city center. And you can go out and have a dinner at one of these many Michelin-starred restaurants in Copenhagen. You can exploit the Copenhagen card. It's valid for several days, so you can use 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. So there are a lot of opportunities. If you want to get out of the city, you can go to Kronborg in Elsinore, which is the Shakespeare or the Hamlet castle, wow. where Hamlet took place. So it's a nice with a single trip out of the city. They're celebrating 400 years this year. Since Shakespeare died,
yes,
and for 200 years they had Hamlet plays at Kronborg Castle. Wow. So they have a double anniversary this year.
So we've got obviously there's other aside from Copenhagen, obviously we're talking about other cruise destinations that people can visit in Denmark. There's a few, isn't there?
Yeah, there are. If we start most easterly, we have the island of Bornholm, which is the only place in Denmark where you can find rocks. It's very quaint with a lot of small villages, good food. They actually have just received their first Michelin-star restaurant as well. There's
a lot of Michelin stars going on. There's loads of stars.
We just love food in Copenhagen or in Denmark. We have Elsinore, which I just mentioned with Shakespeare and Hamlet. And Kronborg Castle. We have Hundested, a small fishing village on top of the Zealand, the island of Zealand, and they received their first cruise calls this year, and they fully deserve that because it's a very nice city. And they have access to the 30 castles that are in northern part of Zealand, and very easy access to Copenhagen as well. And the same goes for Kalundborg on the western side of Zealand, which probably have the most preserved medieval city center in Denmark. So apart from that, you can also go to Copenhagen from there with 1 hour. And there's a lot of nature-based activities there. In Fredericia, we have 5 in Jutland. In Fredericia, it's very close to Hans Christian Andersen's birthplace and the original Legoland. You have Legoland here at Windsor. I know this is the original Legoland, and the Lego's world head office is just neighboring.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Well, they're very close to it. We have Aarhus.
By the way, are these ports? Are these in comparison to Copenhagen? Are these much larger or smaller in comparison?
Well, they are smaller.
Yes,
they are smaller ports. Aarhus is the second largest city in Denmark.
Okay.
And they received the second largest cruise calls and cruise passengers in 2016. It's about 300,000 inhabitants in Aarhus. Most of them very young because it's a big university city. And there are 3 world-class museums in Aarhus. The old town, which is an open-air museum where you can experience how Denmark looked some years ago. They actually took buildings from various places in Denmark and tear it down and rebuilt it in this area. They have Aras, Museum of Modern Art, and you have a very new museum just outside Aarhus called Moesgaard, which is the Danish history. Then you have Aalborg up at Limfjorden, on top of Jutland.
Okay.
And you have 1 hour beautiful sailing across the nature and the fields before you arrive to Aalborg. And Aalborg, actually, I think it's the place in Denmark where you are docking closest to the city center. You just have to cross the street, then you are in the
So
in the city center. Yeah, very close by. And it's actually the birthplace of Jørgen Utzon, who was the architect behind the Sydney Opera House.
Fantastic. Well, there you go.
And finally, on top of Jutland, we have Skagen, which is very famous, at least in Denmark, but increasingly abroad as well, due to the special light which attracted a lot of artists in the last century, and there are a lot of paintings, famous paintings up there. You have some excellent food there as well, and it's very more popular among cruise guests. It's a very, very special nature, and you're actually able to stand with one leg in one ocean and the other leg in another ocean, and you just have the waves colliding between your legs. So it's very special.
It sounds to me like you do need more than just one night or 2
really
days.
Do need
There's a lot going on if you want to. And also, there does really seem to be something for everyone at every age. Would you agree there's enough things to do for families right through to maybe couples and to the old elderly people as well?
I think there are something for any age in Denmark. I just mentioned Legoland. We have Disney Cruise Lines. They're arriving to Copenhagen. Every time they're arriving, they have 800 children bringing on the ship as well. So of course there's a lot of things to see and do for children and for more mature people.
With something for everyone that check out. And it sounds like you could learn a lot as well, because it's steeped in history. There's such amazing history, and obviously if you like to learn a bit as well, you can just by wandering around. We talked about that earlier. You can go to the museums, and if it's not for you, you can maybe just have a wander around and just take in the atmosphere, and obviously learn some as well, which is
correct.
Good. Yeah. And so when would be the best time of year, do you think, for people to come and check out the...
Well, definitely in the summer. The summer are in Denmark approximately the same as in the UK. We get the occasional shower, but normally it's excellent weather during the summer, and it's where all Danes, because the summers are so short, all Danes are just enjoying life at the outdoor cafes and restaurants, and just hang around outside in the streets.
When the ships arrive and they dock, are they pretty much right there in the city, in the heart of the city?
We have 2 primarily places where the dock. One place is approximately 3 kilometers from the city center, and the other one where the majority of the British cruise passengers are coming is very closer. It's much closer to the city center. It's 10-15 minutes walk to the city center.
When the cruise ships arrive, who is it? Mainly British, or is it a mixture? Do you get nationalities?
Well, actually, North Americans is every 4th of the cruise passengers arriving in Copenhagen, and Germans is the other 4th. So those 2 nationalities, North Americans and Germans, they account for 50% of the cruise passengers coming to Copenhagen. But UK residents are number 3 in that list.
What about English speaking? Is it easy to get around and to interact with the locals, and obviously as a tourist, is it easy to get by?
all Danes, they learn English at school, and they are looking forward to practice it in real life when they can talk to tourists. So that shouldn't be a problem at all.
I mean, coming there with the cruise line would be fantastic, but it sounds to me like you could enjoy an entire holiday on your own, either before or after, like we mentioned, for a few days by checking out all these different cities and different places. And I guess that's what a lot of people do when they come in.
Exactly, they do that, and actually this summer, me and my wife, we are doing exactly the same. We are driving around in Copenhagen to see all these spots, because it's so close to us, so you tend not to do it. But this year we said, well, now we have to see it, and we are very much looking forward to this vacation.
So I guess if it was over to you to give everyone one more final thing about Denmark and about going there, what would you say is the must thing you must do? Must you go to Copenhagen? And besides seeing the mermaid, what else do you think people must do if they come into the city?
Well, in Copenhagen,
yes.
I think that what they should do is to experience life. The one thing they could do. That is free. That is go to the National Museum, which is in the city center as well, and you'll get a very good glimpse of the Danish history. And as I said, it's free. So that's another advantage with that. Some of the things that we really think that Copenhagen is a wonderful city, and I think it's due to the many tourists that are arriving to it. People in Copenhagen, they really like the tourists and like the visitors, and they know that they are very important for the city.
Brilliant. Well, that's fantastic, Claus. Thank you so much for everything. It's been great to meet you and it's great to talk about it. And thank you also for watching, and I'll see you again next time as we look through the Porthole. Bye for now.